Hey guys, Hugh Shang here. Welcome to another StarCraft 2 lesson. Today we're going to be talking about attacking. So there's a lot of questions I get asked from students about how to attack. You know, what unit should you be making? How should you set up your production? Should I have like a backup plan? Lots of stuff like that. And so we're going to be looking at a little situation I set up here in the unit tester just to kind of address like the basics of attacking. So I think it's easiest to look at a PvP situation because it's balanced to kind of understand the concept, but the same thing is going to apply to the other matchups as well. Just it'll be more asymmetrical. So this will be better as an example. All right, so in the unit tester here, you can see that on this side we have a protoss player, and the protoss player has 2 robo bays, a forge, and a robo bay. So a lot of money invested in tech here. And we also have 5 stalkers. And then if we look at this other side, they have the exact same thing. And what you should realize is these guys have literally the exact same amount of units because it's a mirror matchup. And so if you were wanting to attack here, it wouldn't really work because you don't have more units. And on top of that, your opponent has defender's advantage, right? So they'll usually have the overcharge, of course, but then on top of that, they have a faster warp in point. And so the reinforcements are going to arrive quicker. And then, yeah, you're not going to be able to make any headway because, again, you have the same number of units. So if you want to be doing attacks, you really want to cut things out of your build, right? So for example, if we removed this robo, the robo cost 100 gas, and it's like 150 minerals, I think, nowadays. So usually I just go by the gas count, and that would be like 2 stalkers, right? So just by cutting the robo, we're going to have 2 more stalkers. Now, the downside, obviously, is that we're going to be susceptible to DTs, right? But you can't really think like that if you want to attack. You kind of have to take on some amount of risk, because if you don't, well, then again, you just have 5 stalker versus 5 stalker. So the name of the game is to cut as much as you can, and then obviously you know, hopefully don't die to DTs, but you accept the risk of dying to DTs so that you can do an attack. And obviously if you like scout a dark shrine, I'm not saying, you know, don't build a robo because you're attacking. But if you have no info, you should really be cutting this so you can do the attack, right? So let's say you made 2 robos, you made like +1 on the forge, and you made a robo bay. If we cut all this and our opponent has all that tech, we get 3 stalker from the robo bay, 2 from each of these robos, and 2 from the +1 upgrade, right? So 2, 4, 6, 9. And then all of a sudden you can see like, okay, wow, this attack is actually going to be strong because my opponent spent all their gas on these tech buildings, and I'm going to have 14 stalkers to 5, right? And then it makes a lot more sense to be doing this attack. Yeah, they have a shield battery, but you got 9 more stalkers. So that's the basic of attacking. You want to cut some stuff out of your build, and that way you can focus a lot of your resources, or even all of your resources, on the attack. Okay, now I want to show you guys a game I played against Steadfast. So let me load this up. And while we go through the other game, I want to talk about another concept of attacking. So it's true that we can cut stuff to get really strong attacks. However, if our opponent's a good player and we're in an even position, it shouldn't really matter what we cut, because they can see that we're attacking and they can also cut some of their tech. So for example, in that PvP I just showed you, the protoss had like a robo bay and double robo, but a strong protoss would do something like get the forge with +1 and then not get any more tech and just have that one single small advantage of the upgrade lead and not invest into all that other stuff. And then it's much easier to use the defender's advantage to hold on. So based on that, when you're attacking, you kind of want to have a lead if you want it to be successful a high percentage of the time, right? You don't want to be attacking just because you want to attack, unless you're just going to accept that if your opponent plays well, they're going to defend. So what I usually do against top GMs is I don't attack them unless I'm in a good position, right? So in this game, for example, we have some early adept pressure and some oracle pressure. And so if this doesn't do well, then I can play into a macro game. So it's a very standard macro game. I'll start playing from here. And we can see that, okay, my adept is scouting. We see that it's a macro game. Steadfast is making a ton of drones. This game goes pretty well for me, by the way, but Steadfast is actually a pretty strong player. So don't judge him by this game. Alright, so Oracle comes in, and I think he defends this one super well, right? So in this current situation, I'm not really thinking about attacking yet, right? Does absolutely nothing. So there's no way we can attack here. Instead, I'm just kind of developing my economy like normal, right? We're getting the third. We've got some oracles in production. We got the gates. But in my mind, I'm not really thinking about attacking yet. Okay. Now, here is where we start to get some damage. So these oracles fly in. And I don't know what happened here. I guess he forgot to move his queens over or whatever. But here is where we really start to rack up some drone kills. Now, the amount of drones you want to kill before you attack is kind of going to depend on your league, right? Like, if you're in Gold League, you can probably just execute this build no matter what, because your opponents are not the best at macroing yet, and so you're always going to have an advantage going into the attacks. But if you're at my MMR, you kind of need to get some damage like this, and so now we've got 10 Oracle kills, which is honestly astronomical. And so at this point, I'm not going to go into like carrier 5 base, because in my mind, I'm already so far ahead that the game is over. So all I need to do is execute a really clean attack here, and then we're going to win. Now, on top of that, the Oracle Harass, this Ling attack also is putting him in quite a bad position, because you can think about these Lings as not drones, right? So that was like 16 Lings, which is like 8 drones that he doesn't have anymore. So if we look at the eco, we're like ahead in workers against Zerg, which is really bad for them. Although Steadfast is droning pretty handily here, so it doesn't maybe look that bad, but considering the damage, he's in a really terrible position. Okay, so the rest of this game is going to be me showing you this setup and kind of the corners we're cutting to do this attack. So, I mean, like I said, he's really behind, so there's no way he's going to hold this. So we're not going to focus on that, but just the setup. All right, so I'm adding a Forge and a Twilight, and you could even cut the Forge, but generally in PvZ, I think the Forge is pretty good because you can put one cannon here and then you kind of defend counterattacks. So we're not going to cut the Forge, but what we are going to cut is a lot of the kind of late game tech. So generally in mid game PvZ, you might do something like go for a Templar Archives for Storm. You might make some Immortals from a Robo. You might make like a Robo Bay. You might go Carriers eventually. And so we're going to cut all of that out. We're going to really lean down our tech as much as possible. So I'm going to get +1 and I'm going to get Blink, but that's actually where my tech stops, right? And I think for a lot of people, that's going to be really uncomfortable because you want to get all these different things like, okay, but I want to put like Dark Templars in my attack and I want to get like Charge as well as Blink. And it seems good because you're getting all these like different attacking upgrades. But it's much better to lean out your attack so that it's really, really focused, right? And so our attack in this game is Blink Stalkers. That's it. Just Blink Stalkers, right? Because again, if we had like Charge here, boom, you just lost 2 Stalkers, right? Robo, you just lost another 2 Stalkers, right? Robo Bay, 3 Stalkers. And if you add all those things, and then you try to attack, you're going to have like 5 Stalkers instead of 10. So you're losing like half your army, basically. It's a lot harsher than it seems, right? So instead of doing that, we added a lot of gates. I should point out that I added these gates before I started making units as much as possible. That really helps with spending your money. So make sure you do that as well. And the last kind of thing you need to know about attacking is you can't attack someone who is also attacking you, right? And so you'll notice I'm kind of playing a little bit passive here, right? And you might be wondering like, why am I playing so passive? We just said we're gonna do this massive attack, right? Why didn't I move out with like 4 Stalkers? And the reason I didn't do that is because it kind of looks like he's the one setting up to attack me, right? Like I just had a peek with my oracles over here, and there was no drones, and there was a lot of zerglings. So I'm actually playing quite cautious here and just making sure that there's not like, 50 roaches on the way. Now that we realize he's just like that far behind, I'm going to start moving out with the stalkers. And I'm not even going to invest in +2. Like, that's how much we want to lean out attacks. Because the attack hits at +1. If we go to +2, we lose 3 stalkers. And it doesn't ever come into play when it actually matters, right? Like, the game is won or lost right here, not 2 minutes from now when +2 finishes. So there's some micro involved here, but essentially it's more about the setup, in my opinion. Like, if you're going to be winning games, it's not going to be because your micro is bad, unless you're like move commanding your army and then close your eyes. But apart from that, as long as you have a good setup, you should be winning your games. So we can see he tries to defend here, but losing that many drones in GM is like a death sentence. You could even GG earlier because it's just unplayable, honestly. There's just no amount of skill that Steadfast can use here to win this game. Even if he was like Dark, I would have won this game from the opening 8 drone kills. They're just impossible. So anyways, hopefully you guys liked this video. Just how to attack, how to get better at attacking. Try cutting a lot of your tech and see if that allows you to do some more powerful attacks. And with that, I think we are done this video. So thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you like content like this. And we do have a YouTube member program. So if you click the join button beside the subscribe button, you're going to get access to some replay packs if you're in tier 1. Tier 2, we do group practice. And then tier 3, I'm doing unlimited replay analysis. So if you drop your replays in the chat channel on Discord, I just go through them, write some analysis for you, bam, send them out. Easy coaching, quick. And yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Sign up for the tiers if you want to support the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.